Welcome back to Just the Guy Reviews. I'm Matt Sula, and today's special presentation is Joker, Folie A Deux, directed by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix, of course, Lady Gaga, and Brendan Gleeson. This is the follow-up to the 2019 Best Picture nominee, Joker, the only movie that Joaquin Phoenix has a Best Actor win for, which I think is, not totally surprising. A bunch of great actors don't have Oscars, but just some of his roles, I thought he would have had one or two more, even in supporting. This movie takes place 2 years after the events of Joker, and in this movie we find Arthur Fleck is institutionalized at Arkham, awaiting trial for his crimes as Joker. While struggling with his dual identity, Arthur not only stumbles upon true love, but also finds the music that's always been inside him. Now, there was always rumblings that this was going to be a musical. They kind of said it. They called it a jukebox musical, which traditionally does not do well in the box office. People don't like musicals, really. And I would put myself in that camp. I'm not a huge fan of musicals in the sense of like a Into the Woods or a High School Musical where everyone just like breaks out into song and dance. This is not that. This is very clearly like Arthur and people around him are singing in a very like sometimes natural aspect, but then the other times that are not natural, it's very clearly all taking place inside his head. None of it's happening. This is an insane person. And if you think back to the last movie, this is what I was thinking throughout the whole thing. He states, like, I always thought my life was a tragedy, but actually it's a comedy. So 2 years later, after being in prison the whole time, why wouldn't this insane person all of a sudden think he's in a musical? It made all the sense in the world to me. Maybe it's a stretch, I don't know, but it worked for me. I don't know. I came out of this movie. I enjoyed my time. I didn't find it very boring. Sure, there were a couple things here and there that you can roll your eyes at, especially some of the musical aspects. Like, you think you have Lady Gaga in there as Harley Quinn, kind of, that she's going to have some great numbers. She's pretty reserved for the most part. There's maybe one or two where she really lets it fly, and like in a Star is Born aspect, but for the most part, it's pretty reserved. Again, for the most part, you have to assume the entire movie is from the perspective of Arthur Fleck, who is an insane person, who's a madman, who is on trial for killing 5 people. As we learn in the movie, he actually killed 6. It's a bit of a mess at points, but coming off of Megalopolis last week, this is nowhere near as big of a mess as that movie. And people are treating this like it's an absolute abomination to, like, if you like the first movie, this movie's making fun of you. Like, I don't know. I like the first movie. I like this movie. I don't know. I still like Joaquin Phoenix. He can pretty much do no wrong to me. Brendan Gleeson was great. It does a very good job of basically showing how we can, as a society at times, villainize people with very clear mental illness, but we are just being like, nope, they're a bad person. I don't know. It didn't offend me in any way. Much like the first movie didn't offend me when people were calling it like an incel's guideline to taking over the world, basically. I thought Todd Phillips did a very good job telling you what he wanted to tell you. The only gripe that I might have with it, but it's not even that big, is he's never really the Joker. For as long as the Joker's been around, he's been an agent of chaos. He just does shit to stir the pot, to cause violence, all this stuff. He does it because he enjoys causing chaos. That is not Arthur Fleck. And Todd Phillips has gone as far to say, this is not that Joker. And you know what? If this is not that Joker, fine. I'm totally okay with telling a retelling of a character. It doesn't bother me at all. It didn't bother me when Batman was killing people with Ben Affleck. That doesn't bother me. There's a whole Marvel show called What If that I'm pretty sure people love. I've never seen it, but I'm pretty sure the whole concept is, what if this happened instead of this? What if this was this? Well, what if the Joker never becomes the Joker, but in a sense, he is the Joker? Like, it doesn't, I don't know. I just was able to go into these movies knowing I was not going to see the clown prince of crime or whatever you call him. I was not going to see Batman. I was not going to see any of that, so it doesn't bother me. And again, the musical aspect worked for me. I'm not saying I enjoyed every single musical number, but it totally makes sense to me that this insane person is going even more insane, going more mad, is singing to himself all the time and to others, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? It makes all the sense in the world to me. And I'm clearly in the minority with this movie because the scores are not good so far. It just came out yesterday worldwide in movie theaters, but as of right now has a 5.4 to 10 on IMDb, a 2.6 on Letterboxd. Rotten Tomatoes audience at a 36%. I assume that's mostly because of the musical aspect, but also Rotten Tomatoes critics at a 38%. Now, critics didn't like the original either. I'm pretty sure it's sitting at like a 68. But this movie's not that bad. It's not a 58%. And if I remember correctly, like Megalopolis is at like a 50. This movie is not worse than Megalopolis. I don't know. I gave this movie 3.5 stars. I gave it a 78 out of 100. I was not bored throughout it at any point. I didn't have to get up to use the bathroom. Usually I do. I thought this movie was a very well executed sequel to the original. It had some good points, had some good performances. I'm going to stand behind this movie even if I'm by myself on Joker Folie A Deux Island. But that's going to be it from me on this movie. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below if you liked Joker Folie A Deux, why you hate it, why you might think it's spitting in the audience faces. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. That'll be it for me, guys. Peace.